This is Pastor David Donovan. I want to read to you a dream I had 5 May 2124, number 8845 entry. I dreamed I am at steel salvage yard. I see piles of steel covered in dust, scrap steel everywhere, and then down in the middle of one pile, I see President Trump's face, covered in dust, just like the steel. And I thought, what can I do? This will, okay. So I wake up from the dream and I write, this will be very prophetic, very important. And I scratch face Hebrew, okay? Now let me run that back by where you can look at it again. 5/21/24, 88:45. I dream I'm at a steel salvage yard. I see piles of steel covered in dust, scrap steel everywhere. And then down in the middle of one of the piles, I see President Trump's face, covered in dust, just like the steel. And I thought, what can I do? Okay, and then I wake up and I write, this will be very prophetic, very important, face Hebrew. Okay, now, after the assassination attempt the other day, I go back in my journal to read, Lord, did you give me something on this? And I find that. Okay, now let me read to you what I posted on Facebook. I'm putting this on YouTube. Let me read for you what I wrote on Facebook. Let me turn this light. No, I don't want. I can't see as well that way. Help me, Jesus. The city of Butler in Pennsylvania, a blue-collar town where President Trump was shot, was built on steel. S-T-E-E-L. New York Times, 7/14/24. So the day after the assassination attempt, the New York Times tells us the city was built on steel. There are 29.53 miles from Butler to Pittsburgh in south direction and 33 miles by car. Butler has been trying to get a foothold economically in recent years after struggling to reinvent itself following a loss of industry in recent decades. Pittsburgh is considered the iron and steel capital of the world because it played a significant role in the processing of iron and steel in the United States. The abundance of local coal and the availability of iron ore from mines in Minnesota made Pittsburgh the ideal location for the iron and steel industry. Why did the steel industry develop around Pittsburgh? The steel industry developed around Pittsburgh because it had access to abundant supplies of coal and iron ore. The city was located close to large coal deposits and the convergence of 3 navigable rivers, making it an ideal location for steelmaking. The proximity of these resources made it more economical to establish steel mills in Pittsburgh. Those exposed to metal dust are at higher risk of developing chronic lung conditions. Prolonged exposure to metal dust like steel, iron, and cobalt can result in lung conditions such as citrus and black lung. Now here is the dream, word for word as is written in the journal. 5/21/24, number 8845. I dreamed I am at steel salvage yard. I see piles of steel covered in dust, scrap steel everywhere, and then down in the middle of one pile I see President Trump's face covered in dust like the steel. And I thought, what can I do? When I woke up and wrote the dream down, I then wrote, this will be very prophetic. And then okay. But when the assassination attempt went down, after I looked at this dream, I write, number one, dream tells us the former president is going to steel country. Number one. Number two, dream tells us by him, the former president, going there, his life is in danger, just as the men that were breathing the dust who worked with the steel were in danger of losing their lives prematurely, but in a different way. the end result, premature death, by being there. Number 3, dream tells us the former president's face is going to be a sign confirming these things. In the dream, he had steel, dust, death all over his face. It was all about his face. When the assassination attempt murder happened, he had blood all over his face for the whole world to see. It's all about former President Trump's bloody face now. Red, blood, soil, Adam. The play on the word is clear in Hebrew. Since red is Adam and soil, dust, earth is Adama, some scholars believe that in the beginning the color of the earth was red due to the redness of fertility. Hence Dam, blood, and of course Adam was created from this red dust earth. Number 4, dream, what can I do? Luke 18, verse 1. And he spake a parable unto them to this, that men ought to always pray and not faint. Also Luke 8, 26 through 27. Likewise the Spirit also helps in our weakness, for we do not know what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit himself makes intercession as for us in groanings which cannot be uttered. Verse 27. Now he who searches the heart knows what the mind of the Spirit is, because he makes intercession for the saints according to the will of God also. 1 Corinthians 14, 15. What is it then? I pray with the Spirit, and I will pray with understanding also. I will sing with the Spirit, and I will sing with understanding also. And in 1 Corinthians 14, 14. For if I pray in an unknown tongue, my spirit prayeth, but my understanding is unfruitful. Okay, so I write that down. Now, so he goes to steel country. The city that's built on steel, because Pittsburgh right there, he's underneath that steel and dust, which is hazardous to the health. So him going there, the situation he was being put in, it was going to be hazardous to his health apart from the grace of God. Okay, but the dream is definitely pointing out that, and I write, this is very prophetic. When I wake up from the dream, this is very, very important. And again, my dream was his face in the steel. It's about his face. And then when this happens, now the whole thing's about his face, his bloody face everywhere about his face. Now, here's something I want to show you. Very important. It came a couple of days later after the assassination in my mail. From the Consumer Report. Consumer Reports. The danger in your dust. See that? Pesticides, PFAS, lead. What's in your home's air conditioner can make you sick. The top rated tools that will keep your place safe, okay? But just dust, about dust. Now watch this. So open up to the center of this thing. Open to the center of it and find it. I mean, it's just big time. It's about what's in your dust. And here, look at this on the inside. Dust, dust. And it says, look what it says. Look what it says. The danger in your dust. The danger in your dust. Got it? Dust. So is it saying that he's in trouble, the danger being in that place? Or is he the danger in the dust? I voted for President Trump the first time. And I would sure vote for him over Biden if the Lord showed me that not to vote for either one. I was convinced the dream was saying he's going there, there's danger for him. Once the assassination attempt, once I find that, look, you know, he's amongst the steel. He's down in a pile, dust. New York Times reports this place is built on steel. But then this thing comes in the magazine a couple of days later, like it comes in the mail when the Republican convention's going on. The danger in the dust. The danger's in the dust. And what the point I want to make is, boy, Christians better be praying. You better pray. Don't lean to your own understanding. You know, all Christians, look, he moved the embassy to Jerusalem and declared it the capital of Israel. No other president did that. And then he lost the election. But people like Joe Rosenberg, other godly men, said, man, in that Abraham Accords Trump was doing, the land of Israel was divided and Jerusalem was divided, giving a Palestinian capital to them people down the road, breaking the covenant that God has with that land, with the Israelis. Okay, so pray. Don't follow. Just because the dude in front of you jumps off the bridge, don't you jump off the bridge. Be a watchman. Really watch. Pay attention to this stuff. Make it important. It could be life and death for you and your family. Trust no man. Trust God. Trust God. Trust the Lord, and lean not to your own understanding in all your ways. Acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. We see the evil with the Democrats and Biden, the stuff that they've done with money and what they've done with sexual perversion. But that don't mean that there couldn't even be a more sinister thing going on with Trump. You got to hear from the Lord. You got to seek the Lord and lean not to your own understanding. Jesus is Lord.